without further ado, I'm going to call in Australia's most beloved political commentator, none other than Justin Lawman. Justin, good morning to you, my friend. Have you been one of the dignitaries?
The most beloved political commentator?
Certainly by me. I know, certainly by me.
Absolutely.
So, Justin, quick question. Have you been one of the dignitaries invited to be at the first ever Armenian National Prayer Breakfast, or how did that happen? Did you get the invite?
No, I was probably out of the office when it came, but...
too bad for them. I wish you could have been there.
I'll check for it.
My friend Justin, it's good to be back, and it's good to hear your voice, my friend.
Yeah, where you been, man? You've been everywhere.
I've been everywhere. Actually, I took some time off work. My wife was a little bit under the weather. She had a cancer surgery. By God's grace, she's all fine now, but I had to take some time off to care for her.
Very good, mate. Yeah. Very good. And that book on mischievous stories, is there a chapter for Lawson in that book?
I think we should add an appendix for some of the Lawson stories, particularly the time where he used his underwear to fix his motorbike. I think that's the best mischievous.
Dude, what a throwback. That's a classic. Yeah. Oh, awesome.
So, Justin, tell us what's happening here. I've been seeing lots of videos by the White House of some of the world's greatest aircraft carriers, USS Gerald Ford, the world's greatest embarkation ever. Are they going to invade Venezuela? Is that a thing that's going to happen? Tell us why you think it's going to happen.
Well, look, they're certainly putting pressure on them in ways. They have now that they're saying up to 80 people have been killed in their drug running boats that the U.S. military. England is so upset about this that they have actually decided that they won't share intelligence with the U.S. that could lead them to apprehending some of these drug running boats. So they're stating that they believe this is an illegal use of the military force.
Wow. This is a first that I've been hearing about, that the UK will not share intelligence with the United States. But would they have intelligence in that part of the world? Or is that more like a political move?
Brother, I can't answer that question. I don't know. But
but it's big.
They certainly, the Five Eyes are pretty joined at the hip. These Britons are part of the Five Eyes, and Australia as well. But the Gerald Ford aircraft carrier is the largest aircraft carrier on the planet, and now they've got that parked off Venezuela. They've had Marines there for quite some time ready to go. They really want to... The America has changed its defense posture, and it's going hemispheric. So that they've dropped Germany and Europe. They don't care anymore. At least that's how it appears. And they're moving increasingly to protect themselves in their own hemisphere. And so South America, they are doing a big bailout package, or we're not going to call it a bailout. They're going to give a shoring up for Argentina. They are doing all sorts of stuff in their own region now. And this is another part of them really stopping their enemies getting too close to them.
From what I have been seeing, the big narrative there is that there are incredible amount of illicit drugs that enter the United States being originated from Venezuela, which is now quite fairly well established, that is basically dominated by drug cartels, and by the United States starting by redefining some of these cartels as terrorist groups. That would give, at least in their own jurisdiction, the ability to go and intervene to protect the American people from such threats.
And it's fentanyl that's really coming from the Chinese gang, these criminal gangs that are very powerful still in China. That fentanyl trade it comes through these South American countries.
Oh, I see.
That's how they're getting it into the United States. And so in one sense, this is also a statement to China that you're not going to be able to get influence in these countries that are our neighbors. That's what America is trying to convey here.
Wow. Well, that's definitely wait and see what's going to be happening in that space. What about in the world of banking? Is that anything going on there?
Just watch this space, guys. I'm just nothing too dramatic just yet, but there's all sorts of cracks starting to show in the domestic banking of the United States. The liquidity of some of these smaller regional banks is not glorious. And that's, when we go back to 2008 and the GFC, that was where the cracks really started to show in when the subprime mortgage and all those things started to go on. We are the United States and many other Western countries are back to printing money again. And we've got an inflation problem still in Australia. Interest rates are probably not going down, and mortgage defaults within Australia increased 20% in the last quarter.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of pressure out there on families, and things aren't getting cheaper. And over the horizon, there's no prospect that things are going to get cheaper at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's pressure on families, and there'll be people listening to this today that are feeling that pressure. And it's mainly through mortgages and rent that in Australia that we're really suffering. And this is a thing that can spread across banking. So this is a place to really keep an eye on. The economy isn't as glorious as we would like.
That's right. Look, do you think that if Elon Musk manages to release his Optimus robots to transform the economy, that's going to change things? What's your take on these humanoid robots that seems to be everywhere now?
This AI, which is everyone is piling in to see AI as the absolute future. Already in a stock market and share sense, it's being viewed as a bubble. And when the leader of what the spokeslady for OpenAI came out the other day and said that we might need some government backing for us to keep developing our country, that they're going to guarantee that they'll be okay if things go badly. That sent shockwaves through the stock markets around the world, and everyone hit the brakes with AI because most of what's coming, we're guessing. We really don't know. And can robots come and do all this? Like, Elon has certainly been an engineer, but I don't know, man. Let's see.
Okay. Justin, we just had a message here from Kayleen, and she said, hey, has Justin been to the dentist? They're noticing a slight lisp in your speech today, Justin. Is that something that we should worry about?
I don't know what's going on there, mate. I haven't been to the dentist. Maybe I should go. I don't know.
Very good. So, Justin, now speaking of moving from robots to courts, what's the deal with Islamic courts in the West? Is this something that is actually happening? And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, Sharia law, and these are Sharia courts. In the United Kingdom, there's 85 already functioning. They're not part of the actual legal system, but they're acknowledged by the legal system, and they're used already in Islamic communities. And the thing that's there's an article that's just been released in the US over the number that are starting up in Texas.
Really?
There are Sharia courts today functioning in Texas. And I've got to say, I was a little shocked to hear that. Texas is not the place I would expect to hear about Sharia law.
But okay, Justin, let's just break that down a little bit. How different is that, for example, from a local Christian church that has let's say, a disciplinary meeting, to deal with, let's say, a church member's, misbehavior or perhaps a case of adultery in the church or something like that? How is these Sharia law courts any different from that? I think that someone could ask.
Okay, that's a really good question. So if you were to steal something, what would happen to you if you were a thief? Well, according to the Quran, which Sharia law, it's based on the Quran as well as the Hadith, which is the sayings of the Prophet, you get your hand cut off. Women and their treatment under this system of laws, it's really the path to God is what it means. women are treated very differently to men. There's all sorts of laws regarding, some of the attitudes in the West towards same-sex marriage. All of that stuff is treated dramatically differently to how laws would function normally in a Christian church or in the West. Mm-hmm. And so this is big, and I'm telling you that a senator got up about a month ago and made a speech in Congress to ban Sharia law in America. I'm proposing this morning that this is actually going to become a bigger issue than we realize, because in places like New York, now you have an Islamic mayor. In London, 50% of the population of London is Islamic. Things are changing dramatically in this space in the West. Places like Dallas, Texas. Texas has 350 mosques. If things keep going the way they're going in Texas, there will be more mosques in Texas by the end of this decade than any other state in the United States. There's 400 in California at the moment. I think they're the top one. This is going to become a point of tension that I think will play out in a very significant way. And in Bible prophecy, I believe that Islam has a real role at the end, and that role is like the polarization of the Western world.
Can you explain that to us? That's very interesting. So what's the role that you think that Islam may play in terms of end-time Bible prophecies?
I think Islam is turning Christianity more fundamentalist than it's ever been. And that's where we're seeing it in the West as people protest against immigration, and particularly Islamic immigration. All of a sudden, people that never darken the door of a church are wearing Christian crosses, and they're all this Christian nationalists, and they want Christianity to rule their country. They're really not that interested in Christianity or any of those things. It causes a polarization in the Western world.
Very interesting. It's very interesting to say. And yes, because as you mentioned in terms of Christian nationalism, sometimes when politics and power ended up being two very strong gods in Western society. So if the antidote against one of the political enemies, so to speak, that they perceiving Islam, and if the antidote to that becomes Christianity, you can have a swing towards Christianity, but not a swing towards the humility of heart, the religion of Jesus. It's really more a swing to Christianity from a cultural, national, even political perspective, as opposed to a true conversion to the Book of God.
Amen. That's exactly my point. Yeah. And God's got good people in all religions, and we know that Jesus is the only way. But hey, he has got honest-hearted people that are living up to what they know. And we don't want to get into politics that's somehow the solution. But Christianity is being drawn in further and further. And I think these things, there are states in the United States now that it's going to cause serious tensions moving forward. Because I don't think the Christian population of Texas is even aware the extent that this is going on.
That's right. And I think that one thing to observe is to what extent will these rulings of the Sharia courts in the West, to which extent they will be able to apply these courts' decisions and what they will be. Because clearly, if they are going against the main laws and the constitution of the country, well, something will need to be done. Justin, thank you so much for sharing with us. We covered a lot of ground today. We hope that you have an amazing week. And of course, if you have any question to Justin Lawman, you can always text us here to 0491 064 669.